What's going on with the decline of masculinity in our modern society? Today, I'm going to discuss why masculinity has been bashed in the 21st century and how this has had massive ramifications for the rest of society. My name is Blaze Asayan, and I help young men break bad habits, build confidence, and develop self-esteem. Let's jump right into it. So, I'd say it's a pretty recent phenomenon that masculinity has been demonized, has been put through the ringer. People are told that, masculinity isn't a good thing, that, there's all this talk about toxic masculinity and all this nonsense, and putting down men, trying to tell them that they shouldn't strive to be masculine, hyper-masculine figures who are, have all those traditional traits of men. What this really comes down to is the decline of traditionalism and the eradication or the attempted eradication of it, right? Masculinity is an essential component of what it means to be a man. Masculinity means being a gentleman. Masculinity means being strong, both physically and mentally. A man that is not strong, both physically and mentally, is a weak man. I don't care if you have one of them and you don't have the other, then it doesn't matter. But if you have both, then you are a strong man. And that is what this is all about, right? At the end of the day, masculinity, it's about fulfilling your duty as a man. And, really what this comes down to, like I said, is traditionalism, right? Society has always operated in a certain way between, men and women. And I'm not saying we need to go back and look 100, 200, 300 years ago to be exactly like that, right? No, we evolve over time. But as the world changes, we can't just forget what got us here. We can't just toss out all of these important things like, a man and a woman's role in the house and in life and how important that is. I think as a society, we're just declining slowly and it's starting to speed up more and more as we tell young men that masculinity is a bad thing. We're going to have weaker men. Weaker men is going to create a weak society. And, that is, as much as people say, oh, you're just fear mongering and all this stuff, that is how, tyrannical forces can control a society by making all the men weak, right? And I'm not trying to, like I said, stir up fear and, be a conspiracy theorist and say this is the plot, from the top down to make men weaker so that we can dismantle our society and oppress people. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that, we need to revive masculinity and we need to not bash it anymore. We need to start remembering what got us here. Men have built so much of what we have out there, right? There's no buildings. There's no infrastructure without men. And that was all built by masculine men who want to build and contribute to society, not by weak feminine men. Okay, that's just a fact. There's no weak feminine dudes doing construction and building everything that we see in front of us, right? Everything that we enjoy nowadays, right? That was built by strong, capable, masculine men. And we need to make sure that we don't, let that fizzle out, is my concern. That's what's happening right now. That is the societal agenda. That's what they're pushing right now, especially in the United States, especially in cities where I've lived in, Los Angeles, Boston, bashing masculinity. And I know so many young men who are just sick and tired of it. They just don't listen anymore. They don't listen to all the nonsense being spewed, whether it's at their school or at work or whatever it may be, because it's just nonsense, right? Like, we don't want to hear it anymore. We've heard it enough times. Like, we get it. You think masculinity is bad. Cool. Well, we're not going to follow along with that. And when I say we, I'm talking about all the young men I've spoken to about this subject. When I've talked about what I'm doing with the Discipline Institute, helping young men with their confidence, their bad habits, telling them it's okay to be masculine. Whenever I tell that to someone, they're like, man, that's a great thing. I agree with that. At least the men that I hang out with, right? Like, I'm hanging out with guys who are, caring about their physical shape, who are achieving, who want to do well in life. Those are the types of people I talk with. I don't talk with nonsensers, okay? I don't talk with people who are lazy and who like to blame everything on the world around them. No, I don't blame anything on anyone. But I do think that our society is to blame for what is happening to a lot of young men right now, and we need to fix it. There's been a rise of amazing figures recently, like Jordan B. Peterson, like other guys who talk about masculinity. Another guy that I really admire, Bedros Keuilian. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them out there who are talking about it, and we need to increase that noise coming from these types of people. We need to get more people on board with that. That's why I'm trying to start a movement here, to make sure we don't lose this important fundamental aspect of our society, which is masculinity, which young men need to embrace, or else it's going to keep eating away at them. They're going to continue to get weaker and weaker, and I don't know how we're going to be able to function in this world with a bunch of weak men who don't embrace their masculinity and who let people walk all over them. I know that I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to cave in to what society's telling me, and I don't want you to either. If you're a young man watching this, like, man, don't listen to it. Just don't listen. It's that simple. People ask me, like, how do you avoid, letting that sentiment get to you? Just say, well, if you don't agree with it, don't listen. They're trying to get people younger and younger. They're trying to indoctrinate people at really young ages to believe these things. You need to watch, if you're a parent, you need to watch where you're sending your son to school. All your kids, actually. You need to watch where you're sending them to school. Stop sending them to public schools. A lot of public schools, a lot of school districts are just brainwashing kids. So watch out for that, and make sure that you instill good values in them from a young age. If you believe in the importance of masculinity, the role of a man in the house, the role of a man to provide, to protect, and this is a really important thing to me. I have grown up in places and I've lived in places that have just bashed masculinity, bashed young men, and it got to the point where I'm sick and tired of it. I'm still living in a city that's like that, and I want to be a voice against it and hopefully cause a little bit of a stir so that people can understand that there's a lot of people here who don't agree with this general sentiment, but they're just silent right now. I'm going to make sure that I'm able to unleash their opinion, make sure they tap into what they really believe in and start to speak up, because that's what we have to do as men now. So I want to thank you for being here today. If this video resonated with you, I would love to hear a comment. If you want to learn more about me, what I'm doing with the Discipline Institute, you can click the link in the description. You can also check out my other social platforms as well. I'm only really on Instagram, so I'll include that. And I hope this video provided value to you today. Can't talk. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.